Well, howdy there, people.
Welcome again to the TangentCast. It is now actually summer here in England. It's finally decided to show itself after a couple of weeks of being like, nah, I'm good.
Are you alive?
I am indeed alive. Yes.
So, did you want to start out with what you've been playing and doing? And
Yeah, I mean,
that look of guilt is Overwatch. Shall we move on?
Well, not just Overwatch, to be fair.
Okay, go on.
Been playing a little bit more Darkest Dungeon.
Go on.
And I did start a new game because I just wasn't getting anywhere on my first one. I think I just was just kind of jogging on the spot and wasn't really making any progress.
Right.
And it seems to be going a little bit better. I mean, it's still crushing despair because that's kind of the point of the game, that your heroes are going to die.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good. I'm definitely not regretting my purchase. I haven't bought anything else in the Steam sale, although I am kind of thinking of maybe buying Enter the Gungeon and then I'll call it at that.
Yeah, you've been a little bit restrained this Steam, so...
Well,
to be honest,
it's just more that, like, there's plenty of games I want to buy, but I keep every time I think about buying something, like for example Alien Isolation, which I really would want to sit down and play properly, it's like, am I even going to have the time to play this properly?
Yeah, that's kind of the issue I've got.
You know, that's why I keep buying games like Darkest Dungeon and maybe Gungeon, because you could just like have a quick, I'll play this for 20 minutes and I'll put it down, and then you feel satisfied. Whereas if I want to play Alien Isolation, I want to sit down for a couple of hours and just play.
Yeah, the worst is like if you're trying to play Witcher 20 minutes at a time. So
yeah, exactly. So there's
it's
been
like
plenty
good
of games,
fucking luck with
there's
that.
been plenty of games I want to buy on Steam, but
I really want to continue with
I
Bloodborne.
don't have the time. You should.
I want to play the DLC.
I mean, I was very tempted because Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin was on sale, and I was like, I really shouldn't.
To be fair though, even though we started it together, you could still buy it because it's not like it's going to go much cheaper anytime soon. So
yeah, I know, but Dark Souls 3 just like absorbed my life for a while, and I just felt like,
fair enough.
the DLC is going to come out this fall, so I should feel like, let's have a little bit of a break from Dark Souls, and then when the DLC comes out, I can go right back into it.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so I'm playing more Darkest Dungeon and more Overwatch. Competitive mode is now in, so yeah. What about you?
I have been playing a little more Doom.
Doom.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten too far. I've gotten out of Hell, and I've done a few other little bits and bobs.
Do you have the BFG yet?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like that first time I literally use it and you've got that whole like crowd who's just
Did you do the really annoying, I don't want to give away spoilers for people, but the really annoying fight that's basically wave after fucking wave after fucking wave of enemies, where just before the elevator, have you gotten to that yet?
Before the elevator?
Yeah, and then you go into, and then you press the button for the elevator, and then you get jumped by two really big ass dudes.
Don't think so.
Yeah, basically I tried doing that, and I died, and it sets you all the way back through this massive wave. I was like, okay, not doing that again without some serious measures. So I saved all my BFG ammo for the two big dudes and the quad damage power up, and as soon as they spawned, I jumped up, grabbed the quad damage and just used the BFG and killed them in one shot. I was like, and that would be fuck you.
And so you just like two middle fingers to the screen like
pretty much. Aside from that, I've just been busy crying internally as I try to review and handle everything.
Yeah. All of a sudden it just seems to be everyone wants to give us review samples, which is great, but it's just like, stop, it's already dead.
Yeah, I'm like, it's quite funny. I was telling Amy a couple of days ago, I was expecting like one parcel through them. I was expecting two parcels on the same day. One was the graphics card, one was the headset. And then I got a keyboard through for review. And
which they hadn't actually said, they hadn't actually confirmed that they
were sending it all the day.
So you just turned up and you're like, oh, so I guess they sent it then.
So I'm still waiting for the headset because there was something to
Monday morning, probably.
Yeah, because basically there was something to do with the delivery problem. It wasn't their fault; it was the delivery. They'd sent it, but
no.
but the delivery company fucked up.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
Yeah, so basically I was like, Okay. And so I got I'm still trying to finish the CPU review, which is almost done, but as you know, I've been really busy with the whole taking photos. Well, you were helping me yesterday with that.
I was helping you with that yesterday.
And then I've got the new graphs in and jigging. I've been jiggling.
You've been jiggling.
Yes. I could make serious money being a gigolo, I think. Somewhat off topic.
Yeah, and you know, if this whole thing doesn't work out, you're just going to be a male prostitute.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be a male escort. 40-year-old ladies hit me up.
Oh, don't. Oh.
Anyway.
Yes. With that awkward thing out of the way, I think you need to open the topic
Ladies,
list.
hit me up.
Don't do these things. Instead of whispering, you should open up the topic list.
Yeah, the one that's hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is it? Yeah,
Yes.
I've basically butchered the spelling.
Yeah, it's like he's just incredibly drunk, but he's not because he doesn't drink. So
Yeah.
So the spelling of being drunk without the upsides of being drunk, basically.
Yeah.
So what should we discuss first?
Did you want to go through G2A, because I think it's the funniest of all of them. And by
I
funny,
don't know. I think Orion Prelude has that honour, but let's go G2A first. I think that's a fair shout. So basically, a publisher and developer by the name of Tiny Builds got a bit upset because a lot of their keys ended up on G2A.
Shouldn't their name be Tiny Profits at this point?
A lot of their games ended up on G2A and then were charged back to them. Essentially, these were stolen keys that had ended up on G2A, and they were saying that $450,000 worth of product was on the G2A store. Now, whether or not they were embellishing that, probably, but you know, because this was like at full retail value, basically, and there's no way to know if all the keys were at that value. But even if you say it was $4, that's you know, the price is not the point. The point is, thousands of stolen keys ended up on G2A, and the developer ate the cost. Now, this is a big problem with G2A, where it's a hive for stolen keys, and keys bought with stolen credit cards, and keys that have been bought with a credit card and then charged back, and just outright stolen, fallen off the back of a lorry, old school style.
To be honest, I've had some I've only used G2A once.
I would never use that service after what I've heard.
I used it once a couple of years back, and the only key I got did not work, and the G2A themselves sided with the seller. Even though I had the protection, I didn't get my money back.
Yeah, and
I was like, and you know what? I was gonna bother to do a chargeback, but I was like, you know what? It's $2. I can't be bothered. It was something really cheap because I bought something cheap, really cheap, purposefully, so just in case. And I thought to myself, I'm just gonna see what the service is like, because I only bought it, to be honest, out of morbid curiosity.
yeah, I mean the fact that they sell you a service so you can guarantee to get a real working key says everything you need to know about the site.
Yeah. Since
mind.
then, I was like, you know what? I'd rather spend the money and buy it on Green Man. I'd rather buy it on
Yeah,
Origin or Steam.
I would rather just pay a little more, but make sure that the proper people are actually getting the money that they deserve.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, you've got
G2A is worse than piracy because you are literally costing the developer money.
Yeah. I mean, there are services like Get Games Go, Steam has constant sales,
Like,
Green Man Gaming. I mean,
to be fair, a lot of people might not know that G2A is as shady as it is.
Probably. But one little thing, guys, and this is not me selling a service, but one thing I will say about Green Man Gaming, and I'm not advocating them, but if you do go to them, a lot of the time they do have 25% off codes on new games.
I got both Dark Souls 3 and Doom for about £30 because of their 25%.
Yeah,
off.
I think I paid about 25 or 30 for Doom.
Yeah, I mean, I pre-ordered Dark Souls 3 for £30 because they had a 25% off.
Well, even
code.
Steam now, they're starting to do a lot of discounts, and Origin as well. They're very generous.
Yeah. So basically, back to the thing. Tiny Build were obviously upset about this. Understandably so. And basically said to G2A, fucking sort it out, basically. And G2A said, yeah, but only if you partner with us. You have to work with us exclusively as like your publisher. And basically was trying to strong arm them to get them to help, to get them to, you know, on their site or whatever, to get rid of these keys. And Tiny Build were like, no. Basically. And I don't really blame them. And, you know, all Tiny Build wanted was, look, we want a list of all the keys so we can figure out which ones are real and which ones aren't, because not every key that's on G2A is stolen. There are some legit ones, I'm sure, but they want to figure out which ones of these do we need to chase, basically, which is fair. I think that's a fair question. G2A, at the time, were not being reasonable, to be honest. However, They have since said that they're going to be rolling out some changes where they're going to be working with developers to give them the database of codes and stuff like that, and they get 10% of all the sales on G2A. And I'm like, okay, while that's better, 10% is nothing.
10% of fuck all is...
And, you know, that still doesn't get rid of the core problem of, like, this place is a hive for stolen keys. Like, why do you think eBay won't allow you to sell digital keys on their site?
Yeah, because a lot of them are stolen.
This sort of thing happens.
Yeah, what a lot of people do is they use, like, someone's credit card, buy a load of keys from, like, Amazon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'll resell them.
Yeah. And then that'll end up getting charged back to the company by you know, the credit card company.
Yeah.
And
because, you know,
you've basically stolen money from the developer.
Because Mr. Smith, for some reason or another, doesn't want you to be buying loads of keys from him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the whole thing that happened. And while it's an improvement, it doesn't really solve the core problem.
Do we want to move?
Yeah, I feel we've ranted on this enough, so let's move on.
So, what about Orion Prelude, since you were talking about...
Yeah, while we're on the topic of shady shit, let's talk about Orion Prelude. Basically,
is this actually one of those times where it's good guy Activision?
Yes. Like, basically, this is actually quite funny. Essentially, this was a game on Steam, and it was pulled from Steam because Activision DMCA'd it. And now people reacted fairly predictably, and to be honest, I can't really blame them because it's Activision. They were like, "Oh, this is the big guy picking on the little guy. Get out the pitchforks, fellas," you know. And then people realised
for the DMCA.
And then someone was like, hang on a minute. And basically what happened is that the reason Activision pulled it is because they were accusing them of stealing assets from Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And they denied it, obviously, but after a while he basically threw up in his hands and admitted that yes, these assets had been stolen from Call of Duty. However, he threw the artist under the bus and basically claimed that he had no knowledge of this because of how their development works. They basically work remotely most of the time. And he said, you know, the artist has been fired, yada, yada, yada. Sounds simple enough, right? Except when you realise this guy, by the name of David Prassel, has done this multiple times with multiple games that have all been caught stealing assets from games. Like, for example, there was one called Orion Dino Beatdown or something, which stole assets from Natural Selection 2 and Primal Fear and all these other things, and it's like this guy has a history of doing this.
I'm surprised no one's taken him to court yet, to be honest.
Well, he was gonna sue Activision and thought better of it. I'm like, you would get crucified in court by Activision, Jesus.
Oh, it's like...
Not only do they have very expensive lawyers, they're in the right here. They were well within their rights to be like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, they've probably got more lawyers than, you know...
Got an army of fucking lawyers, like... You know that scene of End of Game of Thrones this season? That's how many lawyers Activision have.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you're going to give us a case where not only are we in the right, there's proof? So much delicious proof in history. Dynamic.
Dynamic, yes.
Yeah.
It was just outstanding how quickly it turned is what amused me. Everyone went to, defend the little guy, pitchforks lads, and then all of a sudden the pitchforks are pointed at the developer like, no, you were in the wrong.
Yeah. It reminds me of the scene in Resident Evil 4, you know, where they've got the pitchforks and they're burning the guys who came into the village at this opening scene, yeah. And then they're like, wait, we're burning the wrong person.
Oh, so that was funny, and so I hope he can't really publish another game, but I don't know, we'll see.
Well, to be fair, he probably could, given Steam's super stringent policies. It would just, I don't understand what hell happened with those guys. It's like I love Valve, but at the same time, I hate Valve.
Well, here's the thing: like Steam is good in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of shit on Steam.
There is.
And not just bad games, just blatantly ripped off games.
Yeah. Like
Unity asset flips and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, Valve, you need to have a semblance of quality control.
Hey, that's what Microsoft are going to bring. They're going to bring democracy to the PC, remember?
Oh, you keep using that word. It doesn't mean what you think it means.
It doesn't?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Alright, so with that out of the way, shall we move on?
Sure. You pick the topic next, I'll pick the last two.
Okay, alright, so...
You see, there is democracy in here.
Let's discuss the NX, because there's a couple of shenanigans surrounding the NX. Now, another thing is, the first thing rather, is everyone was kind of surprised that they decided to not show it at E3 with their direct stream.
I expected at the very least to show a prelude of the image of the console.
Yeah, but
something.
They said they wouldn't show it, and they didn't. They did not even. They mentioned it by name a couple of times. Reggie mentioned it, NX, but that was about it. They acknowledged it exists. That's about that's about it.
But they've acknowledged it exists for a while, so
yeah, I know. Really... But I'm just saying, like at E3, he said the word Nintendo NX, and that was about it. Anyway, so apparently the reason, according to Miyamoto, I believe it was, the reason they didn't show it is because out of a fear of imitators. So they didn't want to show it too early and then have people copy whatever it is that they're doing. So that leads me to believe they're going full Nintendo and they're going to do something really weird.
Here's what worries me about that.
Mm-hmm.
It tells me that it's probably going to be a control or an interface weird. Because otherwise, if it was like a system designed up, it would be like, you can't really copy that.
Yeah, so it basically points at the NX having some sort of weird and wacky controls or something again, and I'm just like, really? I mean, it could not be that, of course. It could be perhaps they've structured the architecture in a really weird way.
Well, they can't really copy that. I mean, what they're going to do, they're going to actually, I mean, I don't think...
You can't really just copy a controller either by that logic, though.
Well, you can. It would just... I mean, I don't know. To be honest, my personal feeling about the NX is the same as always.
Well, we don't even know what it is.
Yeah, my personal feeling is that I'm curious, but I think they're setting themselves up for a lot of disappointment, because when you start saying it's innovative, we don't want any... It's never... No one's ever done anything before like it. You're going to get people into like a dangerous state of like, oh, okay, we expect it to be able to butter the toast in the morning.
Here's the thing, I don't know if anyone's really getting hyped about the NX because we literally know nothing about it.
That's the other issue.
And after the Wii U, I think people are a bit more cautious.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's like, people are going to have those expectations, but no hype. Because there's so little hype about the NX, in compared to like, I remember when the Xbox One, everyone was, even before the Xbox One leak started, and people were calling it the next Xbox, or Xbox 2, or the Xbox 720, or whatever. People were thinking, what are Microsoft going to be doing next? What are Sony going to be doing next? But with Nintendo...
Well, people want to know what they're doing, but there's no hype. There's no, oh, I'm so excited for the NX.
That's what I'm saying.
What is it? Tell us what it is all people are asking.
Exactly. But that's why I think it could be a lot of disappointment, a lot of like, eh.
I mean... I'm pretty sure they've said that it is going to be some sort of weird combination handheld home console thing, which I don't know. The whole thing concerns me, and as I said before, the sensible thing would be to have just a more standard console with about the same power as the PS4, maybe a bit more if you can, and then that's it. That would be fine, and just have a really strong library of first-party and third-party games.
Yeah, that's all they need to do.
That would be cool, but they won't do that because it makes too much sense.
Because I honestly feel if they had the PS4 level of performance, they could have a really impressive lineup of games. They could get third-party developers interested. But I don't know. I worry about, well, basically being shafted on third-party again.
Yeah, which is one of the contributing things that has basically killed the Wii U. So we'll see what's going on. But the other thing about the NX is apparently, because they've released a sort of attendee list, I think it was, for TGS this year.
Yes.
And Nintendo aren't on it.
Neither are Microsoft, but let's face it,
well,
the Xbox is not exactly doing hot in Japan.
No, I mean, I honestly expected Nintendo to reveal the NX at TGS because it makes the most sense. It's Tokyo Game Show. They need to reveal it this year, really, if it's going to be coming out in March, as we've heard.
I wonder if it'll be delayed.
I mean, if they don't show it at Gamescom or TGS, it's not coming out in March.
Well, unless they're going to do their own
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible they're just gonna do their own direct stream. But the thing is, I feel like they'd be missing out on a huge opportunity to reveal it at a big event like Gamescom or TGS.
In a way, though, maybe not, because let's say you're competing with loads of other shows.
I guess
that way they've got the headlines.
Nintendo, if they turned up, said, "This is the NX, this is what it has inside. Here's how much it costs. Here's when it comes out." You honestly think they wouldn't win the show for a lot of people?
Well, yeah, but they could also do it on any other day with a live stream and also get the same amount of excitement.
I honestly expected them to be at TGS. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they would be because that makes the most sense. I mean, I kept saying Gamescom, but that's in Germany, and I don't see Nintendo going all the way to Germany. To be honest,
No.
Gamescom is a big event in the year, but I don't see them. If they're not going to TGS, they're not going to Gamescom. So this either means we're not seeing a reveal this year, or it's just going to be a direct stream completely on its own, which is possible. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it would have made more sense in my mind to reveal it at like E3 or TGS or Gamescom.
We can only wait.
Sadly, yes, but
So I guess we might as well mosey along.
yes, that's
Do you want to talk about the GTX stuff real quick?
well, that's more your area. So go ahead.
So we do actually have an RX 480, which you might have seen on the Facebooks. So we'll be fighting a fly apparently that's suddenly taken a love interest in us. Which is one of the reasons why. Go away, fly. So yeah, we've got the 480, so I will be taking a look at that. But the interesting thing is the GTX 1060 is supposed to be coming out after the 480. It's basically going to be unveiled in a couple of weeks' time. The weird thing about it, though, is it's going to be more expensive,
Right.
but supposedly offers better performance. So what they're saying, from what the leaked slides are showing, is that the 1060 is going to be, let's say, 15-20% faster.
Than the 480.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's going to cost, I think, $250 for the 3GB model, and the 6GB model is going to cost like $300. Which...
That's still not bad.
It's not bad, but it's also about $70 more than the 480.
Yeah.
Which has 8 gigs. So it's kind of... And also, apparently, it's not going to have an SLI connector, so you can't buy 2 of them and put them in SLI.
Why would they do that?
I'm going to assume so that you can't make a really cheap, powerful rig.
Why do they care?
Because then it will...
That's a big black mark against the card right there.
I don't know.
Can you do that with the 480? Crossfire?
Yeah, of course.
So why
You can actually run 4 of them.
So
in...
why would I buy a 1060 then?
I'm going to guess they're going to aim it at a single card solution for like 1060. They're still marketing it though to be faster than the 980.
Yeah, that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why would you limit that?
Well, we'll review it anyway, but it's kind of I mean, my whole thing is, it means that both cards have their own place in the market. I mean, yeah. Because there is the whole thing about the RX 480 with the power connectors, with the motherboard. But, basically, I haven't really covered it yet, and I want to wait until I'm doing a review of it before I talk about it. Because from what I've read, independent testing has shown that it's completely compliant with the PCIe specifications. And from the reports I've read, a couple of people have said it's blown their motherboard, but it's really old motherboards. And other people have said there's no reports that people have blown their motherboard. It's actually just shutting the motherboard down because it's a really old board, or you've got a dodgy power supply that can't provide the wattage. And, as well, the GTX 960 had a very similar problem back in the day. And I've never had it. Basically, the power supply, the card, the TDP, is 150 watts. So you've got 150 watts split between 75 watts on the PCI power connector, and the other is the the Molex that goes in. So basically, if you times 75 times 2, that's 150. But when the card's revving up very high clock speeds, sometimes it can go over that.
Right.
So the answers are, on a postcard, if you're really worried, wait. Or buy a third-party version of the card, in other words, the non-reference, which has an 8-pin. Because from what I'm reading, there's going to be an 8-pin version, which will obviously deliver more power anyway. And that is going to cost, I think, from what I'm reading, it's going to cost about $240 in the UK. So I'm going to assume it's going to be a like-for-like. So it's only going to be about $10 to $15 more expensive. And that thing is supposedly going to clock to about 14 to 1500 megahertz.
I mean, obviously I haven't seen these reports myself, but if it is a case of, look, you're putting it in this really old motherboard, but perhaps you don't have the power to manage it, it's probably not a surprise that the motherboard's like, ugh, and just can't handle it.
Well, I think it's something to do with the PCI power specifications, but there's AMD has gone on record and said that it can be a problem that the card does draw extra power. So what they've done is they're releasing an update which supposedly tries to curb it and pull it through the other thing. But it's all up in the air and everyone's reporting different things. So I'm just going to wait and test it myself.
Yeah, I think that's the best way, because when it comes to these sorts of things, there'll be things flying around in the air for a while and then we'll settle down as to, right, this is the case.
Because the thing is, from what I'm reading, some folks have said they've had no problems. Other people are saying it's only certain models of cards. Other people are saying it's only certain games. Other people are saying that they can't reproduce the issues. Other people are saying it only happens to certain motherboards. Other people are saying it happens to certain BIOS versions. So I'm like, you know what? I'll wait.
That is one of the issues of PC gaming, in that there's just a literal infinite amount of setups that you could have. So, you know, Johnny down the street could have a slightly different setup to you and have loads of problems, and you'll be fine with your setup or whatever.
I mean, it could also be, let's say that your motherboard was about to go anyway. Because at the end of the day, let's say you bought a motherboard 2010, 2011, and you've been using that thing for ages and it's heavily overclocked. Boards eventually go, so this could be
everything has a lifespan.
So this could just be the thing that pushed it over. It was, let's say, going to go in 3 months anyway, but this pushed it over. But there's no reports yet of the number of users it's affected in terms of damaged boards, and people have, I don't know, we'll wait on it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I guess just wait and see, because it does seem a bit unsure as to what actually is happening at the moment. So,
shall we talk about the VOOV, as I've spelled it?
Yes. The other day I did a video. According to the Steam hardware survey, which was done in May, the HTC Vive has, I think, 66.61% of market share of Steam users. Do keep in mind that this is Steam users.
Right.
And
so
also,
basically all PC gamers then?
not everyone uses Steam. A lot of people do, but not everyone uses Steam.
I'd be shocked if you're a PC gamer and you don't use... Answer in the comments.
No, I'm not saying like there's a huge percentage. I just want to clarify that this is by no means indicative of the entire market, because it's a voluntary survey.
You're using the word indicative.
Thank you. It's a voluntary survey, so not even every Steam user has answered it, for example, and you know it's for May.
Yeah, you should be like Microsoft and just collect the data without asking. Much more efficient.
That's not what I meant. I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry, did I go down that route?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
I'm just saying that this is not necessarily representative of the full market share, is all.
Connectors watching you masturbate. And it also suggests that you don't use that type of porn you've been watching in their VR. There's not enough tentacles in it for Microsoft's taste.
They're judging you for your Roadhog, your Roadhog porn.
They also feel that there should be more tentacles and dead things in it.
Anyway, so essentially this means that even if you add a bit more percent to Oculus, which was like 19% something, if I recall correctly, it's still getting wrecked.
What adds to the rest of the percent then? Because if you add 66 point
I would guess like gear and stuff as well, or maybe they don't have a VR headset. I don't know.
Well,
it's all Steam users, not necessarily all VR users.
Well, that still doesn't make sense, because
Well, you could say that the remaining percent don't have a VR headset, or they use the Gear VR.
How does that work if they've got no headset? The larger proportion would have no headset compared to would have a headset.
Oh no, look at the survey. I'm just saying. This is the percentage.
Okay, so I was like, 66 plus 19 does not calculate to 100.
I never said it did. I'm just saying those are the figures.
Okay.
Those are the figures.
Alright.
So, it basically means that the Oculus is getting wrecked, essentially.
Hey, it's almost like if you don't ship people the pre-order stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as I discussed in my video...
Oh, it's a bit like Mighty Number 9.
Better than nothing.
Well, no, they if you go to their Twitter, It's quite funny because I was recommended to follow their account.
Uh-huh.
So I went to it, and I was just out of curiosity, like,
Right.
the fireworks.
Okay.
And someone was like, yeah, if you're... I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, if you've not received your code for basically the Kickstarter...
Oh, yeah, Kickstarter better because haven't received their codes.
Basically, you should contact Humble Bundle or contact blah. And they were like, yeah, I have. And the code that... And so many people were like, yeah, I have... And they've just ignored me, or I have, and the code I got wasn't working. So I was like, so I responded, "Hey, it's better than nothing, right?"
Oh man,
it still amazes me.
that's just incredible. Yeah, so as I discussed in my video that I did on it, there's probably a lot of factors that contributed to this, but I'd say the main thing is two things. You've got pronged fork like the barbecue.
Right.
One prong is the whole mess with pre-orders. How people have either only just got them when they pre-ordered back in whenever it was,
Right.
or they haven't got them yet still.
Right.
And obviously there's a whole thing about how they prioritise retail over pre-orders and all this other stuff. That was a huge mess. And
Like,
a lot.
You know what else was a huge mess?
What?
An anime fan on prom night.
I was waiting for that joke to be made.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was that.
Right.
That pissed people off, and a lot of people cancelled their pre-order and went with Vive instead because, well, why wouldn't you? And their whole thing with how aggressive they've been with exclusivity,
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of bullshit.
which you can't. It boggles my mind. You can't make something exclusive to a display device.
You know what? The fact of the matter is, it's not even the fact that... I think it's not even the fact that they were trying to make it exclusive that pissed people off.
It's how they were going about it.
No, I think it's worse than that. If it was like millions upon millions upon millions of established devices, but you're basically telling developers, hey, you're venturing into this like niche where there's not going to be that much money in it for you, most likely.
I was going to say, this is a small market.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to segment you even further.
Yeah, but apparently they had thrown a lot of money at people to make their games exclusive to the Rift.
Right.
I think it was the guys who make Serious Sam, Crow Team. They're making Serious Sam VR, and they said how Oculus Rift offered them a huge amount of money. They didn't say how much, but they said a huge amount of money to make their game exclusive to the Rift. They said no, and that could have been easy to do. But they were offered it, and that's basically what Oculus have been doing. They're really aggressively pursuing these. And just the whole DRM thing as well, of how they cared more about making sure you weren't running Rift games on a Vive than making sure you weren't running a pirated copy of the game.
That's gonna please developers.
Well, they've gotten rid of this DRM now. They updated I think a couple of weeks ago now to get rid of that DRM check, but it was there. They thought it was a good idea to check. Oh, you got a Rift plugged in? Cool, you're good to go. Oh, pirated game? Don't care.
Yeah, fine.
So it's like, and obviously they got rid of it now because, well, apparently they didn't like setting fire to their own user base. But
yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna piss people
and
off.
there's also other factors like the Vive might be more expensive, but it also comes with the VR controllers, which the Rift does not. It only comes with the Xbox One controller, and also it's got room scale as well, which for people is a selling point of VR. I've heard from a lot of people who've used both that there's no point in getting a Rift because the room scale is just too good.
Yeah, because even if you don't have that, you've still got loads of optional extras anyway.
Yeah, and the fact that, Valve just have more marketing power because every time you go on Steam, there's, by the way, the HTC Vive is a thing.
You know what? I also think it's... part of it is people wanting to rabbit punch Oculus.
They pissed a lot of people off by taking Facebook's money. Not that I can really blame them because I don't feel like anybody would turn down $2 billion.
No, but it's really hard to compete against someone when they feel that you've betrayed them. Yeah. Even though it's debatable.
It wasn't really a betrayal, but people felt betrayal at some point.
Compared to Valve, who are literally like...
Even though they are completely fallible, they are seen as infallible for some reason.
In this area, though, I mean, I think without Valve, PC gaming would have gone down the toilet. Especially without Steam.
Well, yeah, there is that argument to be made. Obviously, we'll never know because they are here.
Yeah.
They aren't perfect, but, they are still pretty damn good.
No. I mean,
Must I give them shit? It's because I like them and I want them to improve.
Yeah, we're doing it out of a place of love. Or, that thing that roughly resembles love.
Yeah.
Non-hatred, that's the word.
Yeah. So, let's wrap things up with some Diablo speculations, shall we?
Give it to me now. Done.
Basically, a guy left Blizzard, a game director, and so Blizzard are replacing him. But they specified in the job description that they needed to have experience with the Diablo franchise, and that they wanted them to lead Diablo into the future. So speculations are running pretty high on that. So it could mean one of three things. Diablo 4 is the obvious one. Another expansion for Diablo 3, or a Diablo 2 remaster, or one. They'd be more likely to go 2 because that is the legendary one for a lot of people.
I don't know though, because I would kind of because I've never played Diablo 1 or 2, and yes, the firebombs are going to start. But, it's kind of funny because I've bought a Diablo book and I read a little bit of it and I'm like, you know what, I really need to sit down, but it's fucking huge. It's a compendium of different stories, I'll tell you. And for me, I'm like, I really want to play it. I want to play all of them, and the idea of actually going through the Diablos and for them to make it in the Diablo 3 engine even, but just redo the characters, I think that would be amazeballs.
I mean, I would be down because I also never played Diablo 2, so...
Do you play Diablo 1?
No.
So, in which case, either of them.
Well, I'm just saying, Diablo 2 is the one that most people talk about.
Yeah, but that's mostly because it had a large install base because people knew about it more.
Right.
I think.
Well, Diablo 3 was the first Diablo
actually,
that I played.
lie. I did play it very briefly, Diablo 2. I did play it very briefly, but there was something wrong because I was playing it I was playing like a retail copy that was on a modernish PC, and it was fucking up quite royally, so I couldn't get far or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, so Diablo 3 was the first Diablo that I played, and I think given that they used the words into the future, it's going to be Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Because it originally came out in 2012, so by the time this comes out in 2018 probably, that's more than enough time for Diablo 4 to come out. I mean, it could be another expansion, but in my mind, it's more likely that they're just going to be new one. I mean, it could be wrong because obviously Diablo 3 didn't really come into its own properly until the Reaper of Souls expansion.
Yeah, Reaper of Souls.
That's when it really started. That's when it went from being a kind of massive disappointment to...
Well, I don't know, it's still pretty good.
From what I've heard, I didn't play it till Reaper of Souls came out.
It was mostly
I just heard all sorts of negativity around it, and all of a sudden Reaper of Souls came out and it's like, yeah, this is Diablo now.
I think it was mostly the loot distribution system, because I didn't play it originally.
Yeah, and also the whole selling gold thing. But, yes, obviously it didn't really come into its own until then, so you can make an argument to, look, it's a bit soon with that in mind. So it could be either one. I'm personally hoping for either one. I'd be cool with any of these options, but I just don't think with that wording it's going to be a remaster, but I could be reading too much into it.
Maybe, but I'm looking forward to it.
Whatever it is, I'm interested. Blizzard always put out interesting games. I mean, I don't play all of their games. I don't really play World of Warcraft or Heroes of the Storm, for example, but I play a lot of their games, so I'm always interested when they're making something new. And they're more than welcome to surprise me, because when Overwatch was first announced, I wasn't really interested because it's a first-person shooter, and yet here I am. So there you go. I think that's everything for this week.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't think of anything else other than my chaotic schedule over the next few days. So I will be producing videos, but my priorities are to get the reviews out at the moment because I have a lot, and we've got a lot more stuff coming.
Yes, it's going to be busy for the next few weeks, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get the CPU review done. Well, the main legwork of it left to do by end of today, and I'll probably finish it off tomorrow. Then I'll be starting the RX 480. Then I'll probably take a break for reviews for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting for... The Vulcan guys got back to me, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So basically, they've said that they were on holiday, which is the reason they've not gotten back. So they're finishing off the review now. So hopefully I should get that by end of...
The review?
Sorry, not the review, the interview.
Right.
So we can expect that, and they've said that they're going to be working with me on a project as well.
Sweet. So keep your eyes peeled for some Vulkan content as well.
Yeah,
as,
they said that they're going to work with me on a simplified.
Oh, sweet. So lots of goodies coming your way.
Yeah, plus we'll also be doing lots of other stuff.
Yeah, I want to do more Overwatch content now that competitive play is up. Basically, I want to get ranked, and then I'll start doing videos on that.
You're ranked. It's just poor.
No, I haven't been placed yet. I haven't played enough matches to be placed. I need to play 10 matches to be placed. And competitive matches can go on for a while. It's best of 5.
Yeah.
So I'm just like...
Seems like effort.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people want to know what competitive mode is actually like. So
It's like regular mode, but more competitive.
basically, RIP you if you're a healer. Because people will just seek you out. Like, I was just playing very quickly. I was just playing a healer for a bit on one competitive match, and this team would just had it out for me. I was just like, oh my god, and my team were not fucking protecting me at all. So I was getting really fucking frustrated. But what could I do? I was the only healer on the team, so if I changed to a thing that's not a healer, we're fucked, basically.
I'll just be like, you know what? I'll just say in chat, look, you either protect my bones or I'm changing class. So that's up to you. You make your decision. So
It's like, you know, I'm healing some guy, and then I'll start getting shot in the face, and they'll just be like happily shooting someone else, and I'm like, hello.
that's my thing. It's like, look, you either help me, help you, or I'm changing.
Help you, help me, help
Yeah,
you,
or I'm
help me, help
changing.
you.
So it's like, look, this is how it's working. We're either gonna have a symbiotic relationship, or we're gonna have an antagonistic relationship. So you choose, little fella.
Make your choice.
Yeah, exactly. Choose your path.
Choose wisely.
You chose poorly. Yes. There was like at least 3 different references. Oh, do you want me to tell you something really weird?
Sure.
You want me to tell you something that's going to probably depress you and make you kill yourself?
Sure.
Big Trouble in Little China just had its 30th anniversary.
Jesus. That is depressing.
Yeah. And you know it was actually created by John Carpenter.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who, of course, did The Thing, which is a top movie. Did you also know that Thing was a video game?
No, I did not know that.
Apparently, I've never played it, but apparently it was really freaking good. I know it
What
was
system was it on?
the PC, and I think it was on the Xbox. I don't know if it's on the PS2.
I've never heard of it, to be honest.
Well, it was really good. It basically, as far as I know about the plot, it followed, you know, at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it didn't really go well for anyone.
Not really.
Right. Well, basically, you're a team after that. So you're investigating what happened.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously the communication, because, you know, when people aren't alive, it's hard for them to talk.
Yeah, that's true.
I've noticed that as a theme.
That is a common theme, that dead
Right.
people have trouble communicating. Yeah.
Even mediums agree. So what... That's what the rattling pans are for. So anyway, I've tried to insult people as we're going.
Yeah, I think you did well. Keep going.
Sweet. So basically what I've noticed, what I heard rather about the game is that they were essentially going in afterwards, but your team as well start having little problems.
So, kind of like the reboot thing that they did.
I honestly don't know, because all I know is a premise based upon a paragraph in a magazine from like whenever the game was released, like 2007, let's just call it. Because I can't remember when it was released. But I do know it's godlike.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if it's available on like GOG or anything. Because getting old PC games to run now...
If it was like XP onwards, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
I imagine that would be XP. I think it was XP. It wouldn't have been Vista.
2007...
I'm throwing 2000. It might be 2004, 2005. It would have been Vista.
If it was that far back, it probably would have been XP then.
Yeah, it would have been XP.
Because Vista was like 2008
8
or so.
Yeah, I think Windows 10. I think
Windows 7 was
2009. Fuck knows. It doesn't matter.
It was at some point.
Yeah, it was.
But it probably would have been an XP game. Is the point?
I know 2000 and like I know it was like 2010, 2011 that Windows 7 came out, I think.
It was around then, yeah.
I know that because I was going through my order history and some stuff the other day, just randomly.
Right.
Anyhow,
Alright. So, yeah, that's everything done for this week. As always, hit us up with any questions on the comments, social medias, and email if you don't have social media.
Yeah, which is contact@.
Contact at RedGamingTech.com, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Like an anime fan on prom night.
No, because I don't have a date. Well, ask Mighty Number 9. They agreed. Besides, technically, there's only one prom night a year, so why would you go and see them again?
It's true.
So, I mean, yeah. Unless, of course, they had the date before prom night, like a week before prom night, and then they were expecting to be, going with them, but then they realised that they didn't like them, and they were just left them alone. Like an enemy fan on prom night.
Yes. Alright. Thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bye.
Pretty much. Let me have the last word, damn it! Yes. The silence is appreciated.